We gather in worship and we will light our chalice this morning with a rousing hallelujah. Because as Reverend Marcia McPhee reminds us, hallelujah is a dangerous word. Hallelujah, she says. Hallelujah is a dangerous word, especially in the mouths of the creatively maladjusted. Hallelujah is a dangerous word, for it always comes with an exclamation point. Hallelujah is a dangerous word, for it is the sign of a people claiming and exclaiming their sacred worth and praising that which brought them into being. Hallelujah is a dangerous word for another reason, my friends. And that is because it takes an extra pointed kind of breath. And breath is life. And life, when it's animated, is perhaps a bit dangerous. Breath not only makes us individually alive, but when we gather together with others in close proximity, there is something that happens physiologically that raises the amount of boldness and courage of the group body. So, what is this thing called worship that we do? And what good does it do? Hallelujah. The moment we open our mouths and we sing and we breathe together, the law of entrainment takes over, which is a law of physics that says when two rhythms that are not quite the same come into close proximity with one another, they will entrain, if only for a short time. Rhythm. Each of us has rhythm. And when we come into close proximity, that rhythm connects if we allow it enough time to do so. Breath, breathing together, singing together, boldness and courage rising. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ogden. My name is Dylan, and I am glad to be your worship leader today. Our minister, Kristin, serves our congregation remotely. She'll be with us on the screen this morning and back with us in person the week of May 2nd through 4th, the first weekend of May, where we traditionally join First Unitarian in Salt Lake remotely. Kristin will be with us, and we will be having a service here. We're so glad you're here today in this community that strives to be loving, inclusive, and compassionate. One way to connect with the community is to let us know you're here. If you're a newcomer, welcome. We're glad you're here. We encourage you to fill out a newcomer card in the pews and put it in the offering basket when it comes by later. And please stay and chat with us after the service. If you're joining us online, please fill out the newcomer card online. If you have been a long-time member of the congregation, we encourage you to wear your name tag. I know I'm a bit of a hypocrite saying that, but I'll get it on. I'm Dylan. This helps everyone feel more connected and helps our newcomers get to know you more easily. We love having people of all ages in this community. As you came in, we hope you saw the basket of activities for hands that like to stay busy. This is for all of you of any age. We welcome all the wiggles and sounds of a multi-generational community. However, one sound that we do like to discourage is cell phones. So if you haven't already, please put your phones on silent. We are so glad every one of you is here. Welcome. And I do apologize that the light here over at the front is out today. It just makes our chalice all the more valuable.
We're missing a little bit of sound on Zoom, so I'm wondering if y'all are hearing me. All right, excellent. Thanks. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. So, depending on where you grew up, or at least where you spent your summers, you might remember a quintessential aspect of summer evenings: chasing lightning bugs. These magical bugs, which are a type of beetle, blink on and off in the warm evenings, communicating with each other across the twilight. And of the 2,200 species of fireflies that exist around the world, just a few exhibit an additional mystifying feat. They synchronize. So if you find yourself in one of the very few places on Earth that are home to some of these types of fireflies, you would witness a particularly wonderful phenomenon each summer. In a place called Congaree, South Carolina, for example, for just 2 weeks, generally in mid-May, the independent pulses of individual fireflies start flashing in a synchronized way, flashing together as one. So I invite you to imagine that you are sitting out on a boardwalk, stretching across a forest as the sun sets. And as you peer across the slowly darkening sky, the fireflies begin appearing, seemingly randomly lighting up, one here and then one over there, and slowly a bright wave of light pulsing to an ancestral rhythm. Although fireflies have been studied for decades, this phenomenon is not well understood. And in fact, the theories about the why of synchrony in nature continue to evolve as previous theories are found to be incorrect. As one recent study describes, nearly every model for firefly synchrony ever concocted assumes that each firefly maintains its own internal metronome. However, in some species, individual fireflies actually have no intrinsic rhythm. Rather, a collective beat emerges only from what they call the spooky synergy of many lightning bugs gathered together. The collective beat only emerges from the spooky synergy. How great is that? It's this spooky synergy that I find fascinating. Examples of these types of synchronization are prevalent in the natural world, between animals, between human beings, and even within our own bodies, between brain synapses and heart pulses. You might have experienced a glimpse of this kind of magic if you've ever been in a crowd where everyone is clapping after a performance. And if you let the clapping go on long enough, eventually everyone is clapping in unison. There's no one leader. No one said, let's all try to clap together. It just sort of naturally happens. This natural phenomenon is a bit perplexing to those who study it. And so our understanding of these examples of syncing and leaderless congruence continues to transform. One thing we do know is that it's less about the individual elements themselves and more about the spaces in between the individuals that evokes some kind of magic that allows for a collective syncing. One lightning bug has its own beat, or even no regular beat, but the magic that occurs when dusk sets and the temperature and moisture levels are just right, and the many fireflies emerge, each one doing its own thing until collectively something starts happening. And the magic between the fireflies allows for a beautiful collective pulse to emerge. In human populations, there is a difference between individuals simply coming together as a cohesive group and the spark that happens that allows for movement together. There's a difference. One researcher offered this description. They said, a group is considered cohesive when its members are attracted by the idea of their group. That is, the members like the idea of being a part of their group, and they self-identify as members of it. But this cohesion alone doesn't produce the magic that we're talking about. And this is important because the magic that's created in nature of being in collective sync with one another isn't just pretty. It's not just the glow from the fireflies, but it in and of itself becomes a force of power and of strength. In essence, a healthy collective system that can withstand adversity. Scientists explain it like this. They say real complex systems like this, where there is no central guiding signal and the parts are connected in a complex network, are very robust to damage and very adaptable to change. However, that spooky, magical synergy doesn't happen alone. In these vibrant, thriving systems, individual parts send signals to other connected parts. If those signals are influential enough, they will overcome their individual variation. In other words, below a threshold, anarchy prevails. And above it, there is a collective rhythm. In human groups, just that cohesion of coming together as like-minded people isn't enough. It doesn't create the synchronicity that makes us resilient and responsive, especially not in the times that we are currently living through. As the political flooding the zone continues, each of our individual variations will differ from those folks we are connected to. And to synchronize, we need signals and connections that can overcome our individual variations. Because groups must have not just cohesion, but cohesion and coherence. We can't just be a group of people who like the idea of a liberal church community. To make it work, we require a compelling thrust forward. Author Neil Chilson describes our collective behavior this way. He says, once the wave in a crowd is started, when it moves across a room with everybody working together, once the wave in a crowd is started, nobody really controls it. Once it gets going, it's kind of an expression, like a group expression of the enthusiasm that people have for what's going on. And it's that enthusiasm, that shared passion, that is the coherence of a group. And coherence and cohesion are what's needed to harness the power of synchronicity. The why, if you will, is what might be missing. It's not just about being a group of like-minded people who enjoy each other's company because we agree on many things. To be truly cohesive, to be truly in sync, we need to embrace a shared why. And then together, that magical glow can occur. This congregation, our congregation, has a long history and a long and valuable past. At different times in our journey, we have perhaps had a different why that has guided us. And I believe that we are at a time for reimagining our why. Why does this community exist? Why are we so important for just these times that we are living in? It's in clearly understanding and embracing our why that makes the spaces between us ripe for that magic of synchronizing. And our task in these days is to radiate that why in a way that is clear and confident, far beyond our walls. We are ready to be that kind of confident, radiating light. We are ready, and it is necessary right now for our why to be loud, so that we have the collective resilience and power that is possible only when we are radiating that particular congruent glow. So my question today is, what is our why?
In response to Reverend Kristin's call for us to understand our why and use it to become more resilient as a community, I want to offer some suggestions for our why in these times. This video, a reading by John Lithgow of an excerpt of a book by Timothy Snyder, originally published 8 years ago, is on 20 lessons from the 20th century about tyranny and what can be done against it. The book was a bestseller when it was first released, and it's a bestseller again today. I want to caution you that this video is a little bit intense, stating exactly what some of us are worried about right now. It speaks clearly, but might land heavily. As we watch it together, you might pay attention to how your body feels in listening to it. And when you notice yourself tensing up, if you do, to practice intentionally relaxing your body, to let fearful, angry, etc. feelings move through, but not stay in your body in harmful ways.
Hi, I'm John Lithgow. I'm going to read you 20 Lessons on Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. You may have already heard these, but it's time you heard them again. Number 1, do not obey in advance. Most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. Number 2, defend institutions. It is institutions that help us to preserve decency. They need our help as well. Do not speak of our institutions unless you make them yours by acting on their behalf. Institutions do not protect themselves. They fall one after the other unless each is defended from the beginning. So choose an institution you care about, a court, a newspaper, a law, a labor union, and take its side. Number 3, beware the one-party state. The parties that remade states and suppressed rivals were not omnipotent from the start. They exploited a historical moment to make political life impossible for their opponents. So support the multi-party system and defend the rules of democratic elections. Vote in local and state elections while you can. Consider running for office. Number 4, take responsibility for the face of the world. The symbols of today enable the reality of tomorrow. Notice the swastikas and the other signs of hate. Do not look away and do not get used to them. Remove them yourself and set an example for others to do so. Number 5, remember professional ethics. When political leaders set a negative example, professional commitments to just practice become more important. It is hard to subvert a rule of law state without lawyers or to hold show trials without judges. Authoritarians need obedient civil servants, and concentration camp directors seek businessmen interested in cheap labor. Number 6, beware of paramilitaries. When the men with guns who have always claimed to be against the system start wearing uniforms and marching with torches and pictures of a leader, the end is nigh. When the pro-leader paramilitary and the official police and military intermingle, the end has come. Number 7, be reflective if you must be armed. If you carry a weapon in public, may God bless you and keep you. But know that evils of the past involved policemen and soldiers finding themselves one day doing irregular things. Be ready to say no. Number 8, stand out. Someone has to. It is easy to follow along. It can feel strange to do or say something different. But without that unease, there is no freedom. Remember Rosa Parks. The moment you set an example, the spell of the status quo is broken, and others will follow. Number 9, be kind to our language. Avoid pronouncing the phrases everyone else does. Think up your own way of speaking, even if only to convey that thing that you think everyone is saying. Make an effort to separate yourself from the internet. Read books. Number 10, believe in truth. To abandon facts is to abandon freedom. If nothing is true, then no one can criticize power, because there is no basis upon which to do so. If nothing is true, then all is spectacle. The biggest wallet pays for the most blinding lights. Number 11, investigate. Figure things out for yourself. Spend more time with long articles. Subsidize investigative journalism by subscribing to print media. Realize that some of what is on the internet is there to harm you. Learn about sites that investigate propaganda campaigns, some of which come from abroad. Take responsibility for what you communicate with others. Number 12, make eye contact and small talk. This is not just polite. It is part of being a citizen and a responsible member of society. It is also a way to stay in touch with your surroundings, break down social barriers, and understand whom you should and should not trust. If we enter a culture of denunciation, you will want to know the psychological landscape of your daily life. Number 13, practice corporeal politics. Power wants your body softening in your chair and your emotions dissipating on the screen. Get outside. Put your body in unfamiliar places with unfamiliar people. Make new friends and march with them. Number 14, establish a private life. Nastier rulers will use what they know about you to push you around. Scrub your computer of malware on a regular basis. Remember that email is skywriting. Consider using alternative forms of the internet or simply using it less. Have personal exchanges in person. For the same reason, resolve any legal trouble. Tyrants seek the hook on which to hang you. Try not to have hooks. Number 15, contribute to good causes. Be active in organizations, political or not, that express your own view of life. Pick a charity or two and set up auto pay. Then you will have made a free choice that supports civil society and helps others to do good. Number 16, learn from peers in other countries. Keep up your friendships abroad or make new friends in other countries. The present difficulties in the United States are an element of a larger trend, and no country is going to find a solution by itself. Make sure you and your family have passports. 17, listen for dangerous words. Be alert to the use of the words extremism and terrorism. Be alive to the fatal notions of emergency and exception. Be angry about the treacherous use of patriotic vocabulary. Number 18, be calm when the unthinkable arrives. Modern tyranny is terror management. When the terrorist attack comes, remember that authoritarians exploit such events in order to consolidate power. The sudden disaster that requires the end of checks and balances, the dissolution of opposition parties, the suspension of freedom of expression, the right to a fair trial, and so on, is the oldest trick in the Hitlerian book. Do not fall for it. Number 19, be a patriot. Set a good example of what America means for the generations to come. They will need it. Number 20, be as courageous as you can. If none of us is prepared to die for freedom, then all of us will die under tyranny.
Defend institutions. It is institutions that help us to preserve decency. They need our help as well. Do not speak of our institutions unless you make them yours by acting on their behalf. Institutions do not protect themselves. They fall one after the other unless each is defended from the beginning. So choose an institution you care about: a court, a newspaper, a law, a labor union, and take its side. I might add to that list a church. Our world is the product of the work of tens of billions of people who, over hundreds of generations, have built through excruciating trial and horrific error the profoundly flawed, grossly unfair, and infuriatingly inefficient world in which we live today. It is, in spite of all its shortcomings, a staggering achievement that we take for granted every day and at our peril. The most important artifacts our ancestors have given us are the institutions that support us, connect us, guide us, and provide us with a framework for how we can live together. They are hard to build and fragile. And today they are under assault like at no time in our history. In my life, there has been no institution that has meant as much to me as the Unitarian Church. It is an organization that embodies my values, has supported my family, and maintains a precious tradition of free thought and mutual care that can be a great guiding light in a world that can be quite dark and cold indeed. I'm very proud to support it. I wish I could do more. Number 13, practice corporeal politics. Power wants your body softening in your chair and your emotions dissipating on the screen. Get outside. Put your body in unfamiliar places with unfamiliar people. Make new friends and march with them. One of the great things about the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ogden is it helps me get out of the house and connected with others in my community. For me, this is a much more healthy and effective way to be involved in the world than most of the time I spend reading the news. So thank you. Albert Camus said, "Tyrants conduct monologues over a million solitudes." Being together, speaking with each other, acting together, marching together, forming our own community and making of it what we will and what we can, is, among many other salubrious things, a critical immune response to tyranny. This church is not just a way to be corporeally involved in our community, but a home base for involvement outside our church. And over the next year, we've got ideas for how to make that involvement a more central aspect of our religious practice. I'm looking forward to talking with you about that more in a few weeks. If we're to get through what's happening and what's coming safely and intact, we'll need to get through it together. Number 15, contribute to good causes. Be active in organizations, political or not, that express your own view of life. Pick a charity or two and set up autopay. Then you will have made a free choice that supports civil society and helps others to do good. Today, we are launching our pledge campaign for next year. We're looking to raise $60,000, our same goal as last year. I know there's a lot of uncertainty, both economic and otherwise, in the world right now. But I'd like to encourage you to maintain or even expand your support for this church. Over this next year, we will need institutions like our church, perhaps more than ever before, both for ourselves and our society. We need to all be involved. We need to all do what we can, and we need to be there for each other. I hope you'll join me in making sure that happens.
I want to invite you to get comfortable in your seat, or if you're online with us, to get comfortable wherever you are. Take a couple moments of prayer and meditation. And I know Dylan mentioned that we need to let the fears and the pain and all of the feelings that we're feeling move through our bodies. I think there's a difference in being practical and real about the fact that we're feeling all these things, and the way in which we tend to hold them in our bodies without realizing it. So I just want to invite you to take some calming breaths. There's nothing about talking about tyranny that feels calming, and yet we can move those feelings through our body. So I invite you to breathe. You're going to find the places where you are feeling tenseness, and to see if you can loosen the grip a bit. As you are breathing, stilling your body, loosening the grip of tenseness, I want to offer you these words of prayer and remembrance, if you will, by Sarah Lindsay. The world can be overwhelming in its sorrow. We mourn beloveds and lost opportunities. We cry over change we do not want and failures that we think we will be judged for. Sometimes the pain feels so unbearable, our chest tightens, our muscles ache. We don't know where to begin to find ease. The world can be overwhelming in its demands. We must do this, we should do that. People need us to be or not be a particular way. The world needs us to act or not act according to unspoken rules. Sometimes the asks that are made of us are so loud, we want to run and hide and sleep and push it all away. We don't know where to begin to find space. The world can be overwhelming in its confusion. The frequent uncertainty, a reminder of our lack of control. The present and ever-shifting landscape we can barely grasp. The future, an imagined world we can't quite shape. Sometimes the shakiness makes the very ground feel unstable. We search for solid purchase and finding none feel fear. We don't know where to begin to find our center. And yet, we can also affirm other equal truths about this world we share and these lives we lead. The world can be overwhelming in its joy. Every day, babies are born, folks learn new skills, loving connections are made, hearts are opened, celebrations mark the moments of a lifetime with laughter and companionship and delight. The world can feel overwhelming in its generosity. All over the world and right here in this community, friends take care of one another, meeting needs, witnessing to each other's lives with graciousness, spaciousness, and open-hearted giving. The world can be overwhelming in its clarity. There are so many truths we know without hesitation. The truth of each person's value, that honesty matters, that caring and compassionate community is stronger than any evil, and that love brings us back to our center. The world can be overwhelming in its beauty. Waves crashing on the shore, throwing salty spray, fireflies dancing in the dark of evening, the morning sunrise that glows on the horizon, and every bud that flowers into a unique blossom. In a moment, you will come forward to light a candle or to drop a stone in sacred waters, or both. And as you do, let that ritual remind you that the world can be overwhelming. And we affirm that all in all,